Facebook page. All right, looks like we are live. And here we go. 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 Go, go. So, everybody, here I am once again doing my live show, trying to get through all the, the pain. And a lot of people was asking me about that. I can't believe how many messages I got from Instagram uh, the other day. They're asking me about this implant I have. I'm having an implant put in me, and it's supposed to take care of the pain that I have in my leg. And it seems to be at this point, it seems to be working fairly well. But we'll find out one way or the other. Uh, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we will find out one way or the other. And I'm just trying to see how many of these streams are actually running. And it looks like we do have one on Facebook that's running. Got to make sure though, because you never know. Oh yeah, there we go. We are running live. That's good. That's what I want. That's what I want to. And then we should have one on LinkedIn. Yeah. Maybe not. No, I don't think so because I got to do a different one every time. That's another thing I got to get fixed on there. And then of course, let's see. I am doing one on here on Rumble as well. People are gonna pop in there. I see a few people there, but I don't see them over here. That's the odd part. Doesn't matter anyway. So anyway, so you know, a lot of things are changing in our world, and a lot of things are like really hectic. People are, it's like an everyday thing. Something's new happening all the time. I mean, actually, every day you wake up, it's something new on the news and stuff. And we got to kind of learn how to tune that stuff out. And there's a lot of people that are doing it. I mean, there's a lot of people that, believe it or not, are just not, they don't care. They don't care because they don't care. They just they're tired of hearing about. They're tired of hearing about the fighting. They're tired of hearing about all the hate, the division, and all this other stuff. And honestly, I'm one of those people. I'm so tired of hearing about all this stuff. It's just it drives you insane to hear it every single day. And these talking heads that I like how they call them talking heads. I didn't realize what it was until just recently, but you get a lot of these people out there, the media, they're sitting there talking, and all they do is they lie, and then the other side lies, and then this side lies, and the government never lies. We got to trust our government. They never lie, which we know that that's a lie. So the thing about it is we just really need to uh, put a stop to it. And the only way that that's going to actually happen is by ignoring what's going on. And that's like one of those things that we just need to do. Is the more we ignore it, the better off we're going to be. And the better off we're going to be is going to be uh, okay. She says, okie dokie. It's easier that way then. Okay. Got to make it easier for her. Yes, yes, dear. Uh, are you awake? Um, it'd probably be easier. Oops. It's gonna take me a little bit more time to get used to that. But anyway, so The major stuff is like this. Right now, we have the spiritual war going on right now all around us. It's a spiritual warfare going on. It's going rampant in the streets. It's everywhere. And the other night, I was actually reading from the Bible, and I was reading in there where it was talking about the division, how things are gonna, how things are gonna come to a head. How things are gonna come to this are gonna come to this climax of explosion all over the place. And the thing about it is I know a lot of people, you got to think, are you ready? Are we all ready for this? Am I ready? I mean, I'm ready personally. I got some things I'd like to do. I don't want to just keep hanging out in this world and have things keep just falling through all the time. I don't really want that. What I want is I just want to be able to uh, go go about my life and be happy and to keep things running, keep things going, and not have to worry about what tomorrow brings. But Jesus told us, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will worry about itself. Can't change the past because the past is already gone. Can't do anything. We can't do anything to fix what has already been broken. And of course, there are people out there that think that, oh no, you can fix that. You can fix anything. Well, of course, you can fix anything. But when it comes all down to it, in the end, at the end of the day, it's just one of those things that just keeps going over and over and over again. One of our biggest problems right now, I think, is there's this hate. You look at everywhere you turn, there's just so much hate. You wake up, there's hate. You go to bed, there's hate, and all through the day. I mean, you can pull into a gas station and you kind of look around, and you're wondering to yourself, how much hate is just in this gas station alone? How many people are in this store who are just completely like, all hateful and stuff like that? I mean, how many more people can it take? I mean, how many more of these? I mean, how many more, you know, people out there are going to put up with this stuff? And it becomes more and more like this headache of uh, all this other stuff. I'm inviting people to the stream. That's what I'm doing, if you're wondering. Um, so it all comes down to it one way or the other. It's just like no matter what happens, you have to be ready. And if you feel like, hey, I'm ready, I'm saved, I don't have nothing to worry about, or if you're one of those people who do not believe in Christ and you feel like, oh, the world's going to come to an end and nothing's going to worry, you have nothing to worry about, then be my guest, take that chance. I'd hate to see that happen. I want to see you in heaven. I want to see everybody in heaven, but unfortunately there's going to be a lot of people that ain't going to be there. And I want to see these people in heaven. I want to see everybody. And it just worries me that there's so many people that have so much hate. And the more you immerse yourself in this social media and the news and the everything, that's what it wants. It wants to pull you in and get you upset, get you mad, get you angry and stuff. And that's why it's just good just to turn your back on it. When I was in the hospital, when I had COVID, I was talking to this one young lady one time, and she was telling me that that we were talking about, I didn't think there was like, I told her, I said, I just don't know. I don't see it like other people see racism. I am I that naive? And she says, well, it's everywhere, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that, I don't feel that way for people. I don't see it that way. I don't see people's color as a problem. And I don't see, people's culture as a problem. But now it's like this magnified, like like right now, like what's happening over in like Dearborn, what's happening in New York and stuff like that. If you got to just use your noodle, you got to use the brain that God gave to you, and to know what's actually happening. And that's why, I'm taking, measures right now to, protect my future, and hopefully, the future of a few other people. And it's going to be really important because at the same time, I want to protect people. I want to protect these, I want to bring, it's just like I want to protect people. I want to give people, like, I have this one friend of mine. She she wants to, have a good life for her children. And I want nothing more for her to be able to do that. And where she's at right now, she's doing the best that she can. But see, the thing about it is she's separated from her children because that's just the way the culture is. And she's making enough money to support, but she doesn't get to be around her children every single day. And I think that's kind of hard. But we here in the United States, we take that for granted. We're around our kids, but yet, we turn our backs on our kids. We just let them go run amok, do what they want to do, and all this other stuff. Did you know that there's other countries that the parents actually move away and go to other countries or go to other cities to live there while the children stay with friends, family, and all these other? I mean, really, I mean, is that really family balance? But no, this friend of mine, she wants the best for her kid, and so she's willing to do that. She's willing to have that separation for her two boys and stuff like that, which I think is wonderful. I think it's really great. But the thing about it is I would love to be able to take that and put her, in a situation where she could be protected, where she can have a life, where she can have a warm bed, and she can have food, and she can watch her children come home from school and talk to her children about what they learned, and all these great things that what the United States is all about. And and the thing about it is this is where, I'm going to get into the talk about immigration. you know I have learned more than I cared to know about immigration. And if it's done right, if you do it right and you do it exactly the way that it's supposed to be done, it doesn't take that long for a person to be able to get here from another country. And that's even saying some of the countries that are supposed to be difficult. And what I found out is you got to kind of know some people, and luckily I have some really good people in my life who are professionals at this. And the thing about it is immigration is, if you do it right, you can come here, you can get a job here, you can have a job, you can pay taxes, you can have a home, you can have insurance, you can have everything of what a normal person. But there comes a point when your visa needs to be renewed and you have to go through a cycle and you have to do it. But you know that a lot of those people just don't do it. They don't do it. And then so it expires. And then what happens is, then once it expires, then they have to be they get deported, and then they go on to run. They don't want to go back to their country. So then they get scared and they get all this other stuff. See, that's what happens. Okay. And there's a lot of good people out there who are here. They tried to do it right. They did it right. But what happened is something expired and they didn't go and renew it. And now they're like, in their minds, they're saying, oh, they're gonna deport me. No, go down there, get it right, go through the process. And even if you get sent back to your country, uh do the process and then come back. It's going to be a lot shorter. But the thing about it is people go on the run. And once you go on the run and then you start breaking the laws, you're digging yourself in deeper. So, it's just like this real good friend of mine. I would rather see her, bring her children here. She can get a job, support her children, and do it right. Where there's a lot of people that are doing that, and here's the other cool part. Um, Something that I just found out recently, and something I didn't know. There's a lot of companies in here in Michigan. Really, there's in here in Michigan alone who will sponsor um, who would sponsor people coming from other countries to come work for them. Meaning, like, say in the like in the health fields, in the medical fields, and skilled trades and stuff like that. And I really didn't know that. And what I found out was, as a matter of fact, what I found out was is there's this company. I think they live. I think they're either they're in Texas or somewhere. And what they do is they hire these guys from, I think it's from I think it's either from the Philippines. They bring these guys and women from there. They train them to do HVAC work. They teach them the heating and cooling part. They bring them here. They're here for so many years. They work for them. And then they go back to their own countries with a trade of something they know. Of course, they're not going to make as much money they did here, but in their own country, they're going to make more money because they do know that trade. They can get with another company or start their own business and stuff like that, which I don't know how that works, but I just know that there's ways to do this. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that there are companies, and especially in the medical world, that they will sponsor certain people if you have a certification and you don't have any any crimes or anything against you, and you are like clean as a whistle. You fill out the paperwork, and the company will sponsor you to come here. And it's actually a lot shorter way than doing it like if you go get a sponsor, they have to go through all the process. It's easier for a business to sponsor a person than it is for an individual to sponsor a person. I didn't know that. And so if that person comes there and then they have a place to live, usually sometimes the companies will provide housing and stuff, but in other cases, the person might have, an interest or something like that, or live in a group of, like, say, a group of girls might go get hired to come work in this country for X amount of years, like, say, to work in a hospital as they could be anywhere from LPNs, any kind of medical, to cleaning ladies. And so what I found out is that these if this company sponsors someone from another country, then what happens is this person comes here, they work there, they get paid the same wages, they get the same benefits, they get everything. And then after a while, I don't know how it goes after that, but after a while, if they want to become an American citizen, they go through the process of becoming an American citizen. Boom, down the road, it's a process. I understand that, but they have to do it right. Once you do it right, then you become an American citizen, and then you don't have nothing to worry about. Even if you don't, you just have to keep renewing and making sure you follow the process. There's a process in place to protect people. And the thing about it is when it comes to this, we have to make sure that we understand that there's people out there that are good people. There are good people. And the sad part about it is sometimes these people get wrong information. And when they get wrong information, then they're put in a situation where they can't get out of. and at no fault of their own. But the problem is that then it escalates and escalates, and then so what can we do? Like as a Christian, what can we do? Well, the thing about it is what we can do is first off, don't get involved in any legal stuff. That would be the first thing. Don't get involved. But if you happen to know somebody, um, do the right thing and tell them, hey, listen, if you're here and you know that you got to go, uh, let's get you out of here the right way so you can come back. Um, but if you get arrested and all this other stuff, you're not going to be able to come back. That's the hard part, and I don't want to see. There's, like I said, there is a lot of good people, and I think this is where there's this huge mix-up, and the thing that bothers me the most about this whole immigration deal that's going on right now is uh, I'm very blessed to know quite a few people that are out there doing this kind of work, and I'm finding out the real truth behind it, and it astounds me how many lies are being told. And you know, the sad part about it is if people would just do what they're supposed to do, and the easiest way to do it would be to do it the right way. Don't do it illegally, because there's no rainbow. There's nothing good that's going to come of it, plain and simple. And that's just the truth. There's not going to be any opportunity where it's going to turn out good. And that's the sad part, because like I keep saying, there are good people, but they're being told the wrong way to do it. And that's the sad part. So, but here's the thing. You have to follow the rules. You have to follow the process. Once the process is in place, you follow the process, and then you have nothing to worry about. And then you can become a U.S. citizen. You can have the American dream. You can do whatever it takes. But what we don't want here in this country is we don't want the hardcore criminals that are breaking the laws and killing people and doing all this other stuff. And I'm going to say this because this is another thing that needs to be said. It's not about one culture either. It's many, many cultures. And so one of the other things I was going to come in here and talk about tonight was many of you know that I used to drive truck a long time ago. And I got out of it for a really good reason. And because it just, I wanted to do it. And when I did it, it was great. But it just wasn't my cup of tea after a while. So the thing about it is I cannot believe some of the things that are out there. Now, when I was driving truck, I remember one time, and I'm telling you, this is I didn't know. I'll say it. Sometimes I'm very naive. I don't know. Call me blonde. Sometimes maybe, I don't know. I just didn't put two and two together. I just thought that's just the way these people are. So one time I was in Pennsylvania, in Scranton. I was at a packing place. And as a matter of fact, I think my daughter was with me this time, and we were waiting to get loaded this one day. And I saw this truck pull up, really nice truck. And all of a sudden, the door opens up, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys jump out of there. And they're Middle Eastern guys and stuff. And I'm like, oh, they must, in my mind, I'm thinking there must be training these guys to drive, which I thought was good, And so I didn't say anything. I thought it was really cool that they got this truck. They must have like a class, teaching these guys how to drive and stuff. And so uh I don't know, maybe it was weeks later, maybe a couple months later. I was at a truck stop with a person I used to meet up with every so often. And you do that when you're on the road, you meet lots of great people. But anyway, uh, I got to talking to her about this, and she was there with her husband, and they looked at me like, they go, "You don't know," and I go, "No what?" And they go, "No, they all live in that truck," and I go, "What?" And they go, "Oh yeah, they all live in that truck." And I said, "How in the world do they live in that truck?" And they go, "They got two bunks. They got, there's always someone sleeping, and then there's always someone driving. Those wheels never stop turning. They go from point A to point B. They never stop. They rotate, 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 rotate." And I'm like, "Is that legal? Can they do that?" And apparently you could. And then I heard a few horror stories where I heard that sometimes they'll have a 5-gallon bucket in there, and they'll have a hole cut in the floor, and they'll do their duties in that bucket, and it goes all the way down through onto the road or whatever. And I never saw that. There's just rumors, but I've heard some pretty bad rumors. And so one night I I think I was out I was coming across Arizona. I remember it because uh, it was right around Christmas time, and there was this guy on the radio speaking in, he had this accent, and he was telling how he hated Americans. He hated Americans. Hated, and I'm like, if you hate America, why are you here? Why, if you hate it so bad, why are you here? And and I just never could believe it. And in that time, I just could not believe these people were saying this. Why would people do this? So when I look at now and I hear all these stories about these truck drivers, and then I hear just recently that they pulled a uh, California and I think Illinois, they're not allowing them to issue commercial driver's licenses anymore for a while. I think they just suspended it or whatever. And they are going to be doing a nationwide audit, basically, and they're going to go through every commercial driver's license out there, when it was issued, who the person's working for, who hired them, who issued them the license, and all this other stuff. And now, to me, I think that's good. I mean, I had to go to school. I had to take the class. Well, I didn't really go to school. I had a company that taught me, but I still had to take the test and everything. But I still had to do it. And there's people out there who go to school who have to do this and stuff like that. So they went to school, they did all this other stuff. But these people are coming into the country illegally. They're not a citizen, and they're getting driver's licenses that are not even their real name. They're just given a license, and they're going out there and they're driving trucks. And it just, I mean, people are getting killed, and I think it's been happening a while. I mean, it's just more, I think it's right now because of the immigration deal, it's magnified a lot more. But we're talking about a very heavy vehicle on the road. And I mean, these people shouldn't be driving them if they're not qualified to drive them, especially if they don't have a license to drive them. I mean, the last guy that hit those people, he's sitting in the seat with no pants on, and I mean, I'm, I can't really say anything because believe me, I've seen some weird stuff out there when I was driving trucks. So that's really, I don't think that has anything to do with it. But uh, the fact that I think what I'm trying to say here is that people need to realize that there are people here in our country that just are not supposed to be here. Now, that doesn't mean, I've thought about ways, you know, I I really thought about ways. I want to be cool about it, and I thought, well, what are ways that we could maybe, just give them a chance, to do it right and uh, give them a send them back to their country and say, okay, here it is. You have here's a piece of paper. You're going to go back to your country and you're going to wait and you got a number and we're going to bring you back and this is what we're going to do for you. Do something nice, give them an incentive, and whatever the case may be. I thought of with different ways, but nobody, I mean, seriously, nobody's doing anything. Even if you were to give them, you know, whatever, they don't want it. What they want is they want to control. And which leads me into my next little blurb here. And it's about all this is about what's going on right now. And Jesus told us about division, and he told us that evil would be coming. Evil is gonna come. It's not only here in the United States. It's gonna be coming everywhere. It's all over the world. It's just gonna keep magnitude and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we have to be prepared for this. We have to be. And this is where it has to. We have to understand that this is the way that things are going to happen. And I just don't want people to think that well, these things ain't going to happen to me, and none of this can happen to me. Well, guess what? It can. And I really have a hard time sometimes in when I see good people being hurt. And I don't want to see that. And I was going to talk about something, but I think I just maybe I shouldn't. But the fact of the matter is that we're living in a world right now that there's a lot of hate, and a lot of people do hate one another, and there's division, and the division is huge. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the thing about it is no matter how you look at it or how you stack it up, no matter what you do, it's going to continue to escalate more and more and more. And when it starts to affect our children and we start to do things to hurt children, I think that's where we need to draw the line. And we need to push back. I don't think it's fair. I just don't think it's fair. And sometimes I think that no matter how you look at it, people are going to, this is just the way it is. People come to the United States to make money. That's it. These people who come here, they're here to make money, or they're here to get free money. And because they can. And this is how we do it. This is how we allow it to happen. And I really, really want people to understand that no matter what happens, no matter how we do it, at the end of the day, when the Lord comes and gets us, we have to stand before him and be judged. So I want to do my part. I want to help people. I don't want to turn my back on anybody. And I want to try to help as many people to Christ as I can. And that's what I want to do. I just had an interview with Dinks the Puppet not a couple weeks ago. I haven't. I'm getting ready to publish the whole video this coming weekend. I had to do some edits and stuff like that to make it flow a little bit better. But after the show, I was talking to him, and he set me straight on some things that I never thought about before, and I actually felt pretty ashamed, and because I found myself judging based on how other people were spreading God's word to other people. And I didn't think about that. And he made it perfectly clear, this is not how we do this. This is how we do it. We have to do it this way, this way, this way. And he goes, like, maybe, this person is crying all the time because there's people out there who are drawn to that, people who, are into that. Maybe this person who's always, their voice sounds whiny and they're like, oh, doom and gloom. There are people out there like that. They need to have that message. They need to do that. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here like, listen to this guy. He's just like pointing at me, and I'm like, wow. And then we got into the conversation, like, if when I go on the road, I want to preach God's word. He gave me a real good idea. I can't share it with you right now because it's a big deal. But he just like, I felt like a can, and he was kicking me down the road, and that's how I felt. But the thing about it is he was teaching me. And that's what I want to do. That's how I want to do it. I don't have all the answers. I don't. But at least I can try to help as many people as I can. And there's like one person in particular who I really want to help. I want to see this person happy. I want to see her children happy. And it's really important that this happens. And so that's it. And at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, I stand before the Lord. I feel like when I stand in front of him, I'm just going to tell him, I'm not worthy of you. I'm not worthy of any of this. If you really want, toss my butt into the lake of fire, because I don't deserve what what you offer. None of us deserve any of it. We don't deserve his happiness. We don't deserve any of it. I mean, have any of you guys ever really just sat there and really imagined this man's torture of being on a cross, being whipped, having the flesh ripped from his body, being spit on, salt thrown on him, everything that you can think of. I mean, just humiliated and beat and being tortured to the point where it's just the most horrific thing in the world. None of you are thinking that. All you do is see a guy on a cross and say, oh, yeah, he died for us. No, put yourself in a situation of pain, the most unimaginable pain you've ever felt, and compound it by 1,000, if anything, 1,000,000. And that's what he died. That's what he did. It just drives me insane that He did that for us, and he's only asking us a very small bit, and we can't even give him that. The thing that gets me the most is that sometimes I try to envision that day. And I close my eyes and I hear the people screaming, crucify him, crucify him. I hear the people just so mean, spitting at him, and just the hate. Oh man, can you imagine that? Oh my gosh, this one guy who did absolutely nothing wrong, and they're just completely this hate for this one man who did nothing wrong. And they just beat him, and then hung him on a cross, naked, humiliated. They were spitting on him. And yet, to this day, we still spit on him. Yeah. Think about that.